so cool because I remember when Joe reached out and I'm like, I always love when he sends me bands because I'm like, all right, I know they're always going to be good, but they're heavier bands. And I'm like, I love heavier music too. And I want to showcase that. And like, especially people that maybe like aren't into it or are into it. And it's like, let's get more of those. So like, I'm so
Right.
excited to have you on.
No, it's a pleasure. I love your show. Joe was like, "Hey, do you want to pop on the show?" I was like, "Absolutely." And I drive a lot for work. I drive like 2 hours one way to work, so I'm always listening to podcasts. And he's like, "Have you heard of this one yet?" And admittedly, I hadn't. And so I put
Yeah.
it on, and I've been jamming your last couple episodes and everything. And it's sick. I really like how you do your show.
Oh, thank you so much. So that means like, you know how it is too. And you put stuff out there and you put yourself out there, you're just like, all right, the algorithm's not working well for me, or this and
Yep.
that's not working. And it's like, I know I have a decent thing, but like, what do I do? And you're in the sea of like people doing the same thing. So it's like, all right, cool. We've got something here. So, and again,
Yeah,
you can relate
exactly.
to that on the music front, I'm sure, where it's like,
Oh, all too well.
how do you get yourself? And then you have to be a content creator. You have to do all that. And it's just like, yeah, no, like,
You have to wear many hats to be a creative in 2026. That is the truth.
yeah, but so cool. So like how I like I'll do like intros, outros, all that stuff later. So where I, as you know, because you've listened, I start the podcast too of asking like what is your first memory of falling in love with music, whether there was just a moment with the art form or maybe even an artist if that was it.
Got you. Let me think. So when I was growing up, my aunt, she used to have this like super clapped out Saturn that she would drive me and my cousin in. And I remember it had just like it was a two door and we'd squeeze up in the back and it had a little tape player in it. So she had all kinds of tapes from, bands that I'd never heard of. Cause I was probably like 9 or 10. And we get in there and she put in like Godsmack. She would put in Alice in Chains. She would put in Metallica, just like, the OG bands and stuff. And I was like, this is sick. This is
Yeah.
what I like right here. Growing up, my mom was super into country music. So, I got a little taste of that, but as I do love country music, but I could tell that it really wasn't for me. You know what I mean? I like it
Yeah.
was missing that certain something. But as a little kid, you're like, I don't know, maybe I just don't like music. But
Hmm.
with those tapes, that really put me on. That was my first memory of really falling in love and like feeling like the riffs, the vocals, just like, oh my God, this is impressive.
Yeah, and yeah, those were definitely like the OGs. Like I think I remember hearing Godsmack and even like their music video for I think it was like I Stand Alone. And like I
Yeah.
remember that music video of like again, there's something about that specific genre of like what is this? And like, my parents like, I don't know if you should listen. Like I remember I like even
Hmm.
like going back to like the new metal days of like Korn and like my parents were like, you can't listen to this. I would have to like hide those CDs under my pillow and they would be like, and then I think years later, like I knew when, okay, they get it was when I asked for like a different CD of that genre and I got it for Christmas. And I was like, oh, okay. So they're coming around. They don't know that I've hidden this stuff from them in my pillow. Uh, but it's like something about that genre and like that time that like all it takes is like hearing it somewhere and you're in.
Absolutely. It'll really hook you in. It's like I understand heavy music really isn't for everybody. It's
Yeah.
understandable. There's no genre of music that's for everybody. I mean, pop's probably the closest we have to that, but I feel like if it's like in your DNA to enjoy heavy music, the first time you hear that, it's like an out of body experience. Like you first time you hear a really distorted riff or you hear some screaming or something, you're like, what the hell is that? That is sick. I did not hear that on the radio.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like so many people, right? Because I was going to ask you about that because so many people, maybe it's not for them. But I see more, and maybe it's TikTok or maybe it's the time, I see more and more people getting into heavier music, which is
Yeah.
really cool because there was such a time where people are like, oh, it's not for me. How do you understand this? But there's such a special, I think, because everything's like there's intentional moments in the heavier music that are like there where you have to really listen and you feel it. And it's a different type of catharsis, like than again listening to pop music, which has its own thing. But um, for you too, like what as someone that plays heavier music, and then you see people react to your music, um, what do you think is the biggest difference with heavier music and the catharsis it can bring?
I think it's just like I think it's something that's like I said deep inside of you. A lot of people that typically like to enjoy heavy music. A lot of them have something going on, or
Hmm.
they might have some kind of mental illness going on. Or you know what I mean? Like I do,
Yeah,
I sure do. Like so, I understand it.
yeah,
But I think it's a lot of like being heard, being seen, being felt. because like pop music's a lot of fun, country music's a lot of fun. That's great. A lot of the songs are about fun things and happy times. A lot of heavy music's about real stuff like, sadness, depression, anger, the kind of emotions you don't really hear about a lot in the other genres. And so I think especially as a younger person, when you're feeling those really angsty feelings and everything, and you feel like the world doesn't see you, doesn't hear you, and you put on something like that and you can feel the aggression or whatever the mood is, when you can really feel that and you can relate to it, it kind of makes you feel less alone. You're like, somebody else in the world's gone through that and they made a whole song about it, so maybe I'm not the only one, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, like, and that's too, like, anytime I'll tell people that when they come on my show, and if they're not necessarily, they don't play heavier music, but they're like, ah, that makes sense why you connected like the correlation between music and mental health and how it is a catharsis. Because when you talk about these bands, like the heavier music I grew up on, they're like, yeah, that makes sense. Because again, you're one of those people that you felt that, you went to that. So I think that too, like anyone listening or like watching, if you're not into heavier music, also like I say, go see it live because
Oh
it
my God, yes.
translates. There's so many moments. Like I love to see so many people go see it live now, and they're like, "Wait, this is what?" Like they'll go see a band like even like Drain right now. Drain is having
Yeah,
their moment, and they'll be like, "What is this? I didn't even know what this was." And then they'll get into other bands, and but yeah, go see Heavier Music live if you're someone that's on the fence because it's so good live.
there's nothing like it. A heavy show, there is nothing like it. I mean, it's like it's the camaraderie, it's the family out, aspect. You go in there and you feel like you're with your family.
Mhm.
I haven't been to a whole lot of shows outside of heavy music, to be fair, but you just really don't get that in any other genre. I feel like, you walk in the room and you see people that look like you see
Mhm.
people that are welcoming to you, and then when the music plays and everybody's just piling on each other, the mosh pits are going crazy, everybody's singing, you're just in the moment. There's all the fear and anxiety outside of that room is still there, but in that room there's none of that. It's all joy. It's all, like you said, catharsis. It's beautiful.
No, it totally is. Like, yeah, that was the thing that got me even like going to music and going to shows was like, oh, there's people like me or that feel this way. Okay, great. And two, like a big thing is like where you're from and your music. Like we talk about Sacramento. I mean, I had a moment's notice. I had Greg on like, oh gosh, maybe a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, but love that band. Love what he's doing too in his own podcast, which is so cool to see. So for you, kind of take us all to Sacramento. Like, what is so special about it, and what do you think? How does it fuel Seaside Massacre?
So I know a lot of people rep their scenes, and I think that's great. You should rep your scene,
Yeah.
but like Sacramento has a scene like no other. Like I have been to a lot of scenes, on tour or just going out and watching shows for myself, and a lot of them are tight knit. And I'm not dogging on anybody's scene, but Sacramento is just, in my opinion, has the tightest knit music scene that I've been to so far. There might be other ones that I haven't been to that are tighter. I don't know, but everybody treats each other like family out there. There's no cutthroat aspect to it. It's all very healthy. It's very family oriented. Like you mentioned, Greg, love Greg to death, love a moment's notice to death. You know what I mean? We all play the same shows. We're all trying to make it work. So instead of cutting each other down and trying to steal everybody's opportunities, we're out here just trying to build each other up. We have a local festival out here called Titan Fest that's run by Ryan Brown. He's in a band called Titan, and he puts on all of these bands on it's a big festival too. It's not like Not Fest or anything crazy like that, but it gets pretty good draw every year. A lot of really great bands play, and it's a lot of bands that wouldn't necessarily get the chance to play on a festival otherwise, because they're not quite there yet, or whatever the case might be. So it's really great. Like we have people like that in our scene, just actively trying to foster the healthiness of our scene, instead of you go out to over here and this guy's trying to take this guy's opportunity, and it's
Mhm.
just we have none of that in Sacramento. It's sick.
Like that's the number one thing. And like I don't like listen, like people know that I've had some Chicago bands that have been on here, but back in Chicago, they like there was like almost like an ego. Like when I
Yeah,
would help my bands, like all my friends promote and stuff. And I was like, after a while, and even on the promoting end, like what I was doing, it was like, well, I want this opportunity, or you can't do that almost because like, hey, well, what about us? And I felt that for a while. And I've heard that it's changed, which is really, really good. But
that is good. Yeah.
it's like it sucks to see that, but like that's one of the things I like relate like with like New Jersey right now. Like it is so like just hearing you say that makes me think of a here because it's one of those things of like people want to see you win. They will help you. There's so many people that are just like so kind and so willing to do that. And I love to hear about other scenes like that because it's like, I know it has to exist. And I mean, you just hear like, I feel like that section, like Sacramento, I do hear about the how tight knit it is and special because everybody talks about LA, right? Everybody talks about
Yeah.
New York City, even Chicago. People talk about those, but like sometimes it's like in these other places, they're even tighter. Like it's even better. Like, sorry, it is, and it's
Yeah,
really
yeah,
cool to hear
absolutely.
that.
Yeah, some of these B markets, like I think Sacramento's considered a B market because some of the bigger tours will skip us over and stuff. But
Yeah.
some of these B markets, you got to watch out for because they're sick. The bands out here are insane. Like I've been out here doing this for a long time, and I've just seen the bands progressively getting better and better and better, and they're drawing in more people because their music's amazing. And it's such a cool thing to see. And you wouldn't necessarily think, like, oh, Sacramento's like a hot spot for music. I know for a long time it wasn't, but the last 3, 4, 5 years have just been. I think post COVID, honestly, everything post COVID has just been amazing out here.
That's awesome. Yeah, because you hear, because like I know COVID took a big hard hit for everything, for so
Yeah,
much, and to hear that like it's thriving, like I love to see things thriving now because I mean I remember how it was like even to go to a show is like, but then again like you talk about the catharsis of playing or attending a show is like you can't, and now like to see it so thriving is like so cool to hear. And I mean obviously a huge part of my show is that intersection of music and mental health. For you, like how specifically has songwriting been that aid and that place to process emotions?
it's a great thing, honestly, because beyond like therapy or journaling or anything like that, there's not a whole lot of ways to get a lot of those really big emotions out. Healthy ways, I would say. A lot of unhealthy ways to do it, that's for sure. But
Yeah.
it's really great to have the unique ability to be able to express myself through the music because I can really get those big heavy feelings out in a way that not only I enjoy, but hopefully somebody else out there can not only relate to but also enjoy as well. Like holy shit, like that guy feels that way too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And you hear it like in your songwriting and just music. Like I was watching like videos. Oh gosh, I can't remember the name of it either, but there's like a local scene. Um,
Yeah, yeah, the local scene.
That was really cool to see that too. And much like you're saying too, like you can tell, okay, obviously you sit down and you write these things, and that's just you sitting there or, your band. But then you take it out and there's people there and you can see and hear that emotion in it, which was like what drew me right away, where I was like, okay, this is not only one of like in the genre a heavier band, but this is what makes heavier bands so unique that you not only hear, but you can just feel that where like a normal other lyric of say another, genre, maybe it wouldn't hit as hard, but the way you're doing it, it's just really, it just hits so hard.
I appreciate that. Thank you for saying that. I try to be as authentic as I can. I don't write about things that I don't know about, that I don't experience. Don't get me wrong. We have a few songs that are more like storyteller esque, I guess. Like we have a song about the Heaven's Gate, things like that. Obviously, I wasn't there, but but even then too, I try to kind of incorporate my own point of view into something like that. Like how would I feel in this situation? Things like that. And I there's a lot of great lyricists out there that have really inspired me to do that too. I'm all about pop music. I like even like the beat down hardcore bands that are like, oh, I'll beat you up and all that stuff. Like that stuff's
Yeah.
cool. That stuff gets you PRs in the gym for sure. But
Yeah.
I like to put a little piece of myself in every song so that way I feel like I've accomplished something.
Yeah, like I know too, and you were on March 4th with Mike, which
Yeah.
he's so great.
Love
And
Mike. Shout out Mike.
we connected, and it was really, really cool. I think because he had a moment's notice on too. So it was like that kind of like just small world thing.
Yeah.
But when you were on there, you had said something so interesting that I'm like, this is what like just the beauty of music, of how you want people to feel how you felt when you wrote those songs. And I was just like, this, yes. I mean, that's what you think when you're watching somebody perform or just thinking about that. Um, what does that feel like when you're up there? Do you ever sometimes think like, man, did I get a little too personal here? Like, what are they going to think? Because, like, one thing when you're writing that on your own, I mean, it's there, it's your own, and eventually it will get out to everybody. But what does that feel like when you're performing?
Yeah, I mean, in a way, it's kind of like being naked up there because you're really exposing the innermost self to a giant group of people, and it can be kind of daunting at times. People, you always get that thought in the back of your head, or like, are people gonna think I'm crazy? But
Right.
no, I think it's great though. Honestly, it's very it's freeing for me. You know, I can get up there and like we don't phone anything in. Like it doesn't matter if there's four people in the crowd, got 400 people out there. Like you're gonna get the show that we have. You know what I mean? Like we're not gonna hold anything back. So not only am I really going through these emotions in real time while I'm screaming them, but it's really cool when I can look out there and see people just connecting to it. You look in their eyes and you can see like behind it, like they're feeling that, whether they can understand the lyrics or not, whether they're just feeling the overall vibe of the song, like they're the spirit of music's kind of overtaking them, and I think that's an amazing thing. It's if me having to be vulnerable can incite that in somebody else, then I will be vulnerable till the end of time.
Yeah, it's such a special thing too. I can only imagine because like I know me, like if I like I just saw, Haley Williams like a couple weeks ago and it was just like I got the moment of there was a specific song that I was like I feel this way. I wonder how she feels up there, like up there singing these words and like what does that feel for her up there? And then like the whole crowd, like everybody was just singing it. Like sometimes you couldn't even hear her. It was just so
Yeah,
loud. And I'm like, that is just like the beauty of music and coming together. And like, in a world where like we're all like just differences and just so much is going on, chaos in the world, it was like, how cool is that? That like music provides that and you can feel what that person wrote. And then that person gets to see like that. That's so special.
yeah, there's a beauty in that you really can't find anywhere else outside of live music. It is a beautiful thing. Like you said, the world's so divided right now, but when you get into that room, everybody knows the lyrics and everybody's feeling the vibe. We're all just one. It's like damn near like a hive mind kind of thing. It's really cool.
Is there ever a moment that you can think back of like a specific song that you were performing that you had a different perspective singing it live than like when you wrote it? But it's the special moment you had with it, it kind of like changed its meaning a little bit for you.
Um, a little bit. So we have a song called "Summer's Over." It was on our first EP, Shells. And there's a spot towards the middle of the song right before the breakdown where the guitars and everything come down, and it's just vocals and a clean guitar. And the words that I wrote are "Reach down from the heavens, pull me under, take me from this world so torn asunder." When I wrote that, I remember where I was. I was working at McDonald's. This was a long time ago. I was in the freezer having like the worst day of my life, just being angsty as hell, just trying to get that anger out because I don't the customer's probably rude or something. And I remember I was like, I had that phrase pop into my head, so I wrote it down. So it's always been kind of like an angsty thing. Like basically the meaning behind it is like, take me away from all this BS. Like I don't want to hear none of this. And I remember earlier this year in January, we played at Roseville Goldfield. We played the show was called Brutal Winter. We were the headliners. It was really cool because we had the whole crowd up there, and I'll get on the barrier and I'll start singing it. And usually, like I would never expect anybody to know the lyrics. I know a lot of people can't understand screaming, or we're a small band, so like why would you know the lyrics? But I kind of put the mic out, and a lot of people were singing it, and a lot of people were smiling and super happy, and they're like, "Yeah," you know what I mean? Something about that was like, like these were very angsty, very like anger driven lyrics, but I don't feel angry in that moment. I feel happy. I feel proud. Shit brought me to tears. You know what I mean? Like I was in that moment, it definitely kind of spun it around. The words still meant the same thing, but the emotion behind it was like joy. And I thought that was really cool.
That is, yeah, and that's really cool too that people were like responding in that way. And I think about too, like just the creation of a song too, like what it starts out as, and then you go to do that, and then you have that reaction. And two, I mean, even talking about your band and like heavy music in general, a lot of the listeners are male for the most part. I mean, I know there are a lot of women. I will say that I am one of them that like it, but I think that's what's cool about your band and talking about these vulnerable things is you're kind of almost also allowing men to be a little more open with their emotions, which is something like men's mental health is, I mean, that's a whole nother podcast and
Yeah.
huge conversation that like is going on. So I think that's really unique about what your band is doing by getting vulnerable into those moments because those listeners and those people that attend your shows are like, oh, it's okay to feel this. I'm okay to express this or feel this anger or rage or like even happiness. Like you just like there was like joy on their faces. So I think it's really, really important for people to kind of gravitate towards some of this music that is more vulnerable because it's like, yeah, like it's okay, guys, to feel your feelings. Like I tell my fiance all the time, like, it's okay. Like you don't have to sit there and like be open as how anyone else is, like whatever's good for yourself, but like it's okay to talk about it.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, it's a big stigma, unfortunately, for men that we have to be strong and providers all the time, that we have no emotions, that it's not okay to cry, all of that. And it's so cool. Like, after the show, I've had the biggest, burliest, like motorcycle club looking dudes come up to me, shake my hand and be like, dude, like what you're talking about really resonated with me. Like, and it's that's such a cool thing, man. It's Seaside Massacre is for everybody, male, female, in between. It doesn't matter. We are here for everybody, but it is very, very rewarding that we could kind of break that mold a little bit because I know we're a bunch of tattooed up dudes up there and we look like we're big and scary or whatever, but like we're
Yeah.
definitely not like it's really cool that we can find the other big and scary looking dudes in the room and kind of share that emotional bond that maybe they've never had in their life. Maybe they've never been able to kind of break through that shell, so to speak. And just being able to provide that medium for them is honestly one of the best parts about being in a band.
And that's too, like, yeah, it usually like the big burly guys that are like the kindest like teddy bear guys too. Like at shows or just in life. It's like I think it's really cool to hear that because I know I've seen it in like I ask anyone to come on the show, but the majority of my guests sometimes are male. And I'm like, this is really cool to see like the conversation is shifting where like people want to talk about like maybe their emotions and their music or how it makes them feel and stuff. And like we're getting there slowly of that. And I'm like, I have nothing against the ladies that like, just doesn't like scheduling, whatever. But I'm like, I think it's really cool to see like men start to think like, hey, it's okay. Like I can do this, or whether they are processing like at the gym or music or anything. I'd love to see that in 2026. Like we need more of that.
Exactly. That's how change starts. We keep talking about it. We keep pressing the button. You know what I mean? We got to stay on the issue. It's one of those things that never goes away, and it's been ingrained in male culture for so many years. I don't decades. You know what I mean? Whatever. Just to like I said, that we have to be strong and not have emotions. And it's like no, fuck that.
Hmm.
Like we're human beings. We're all human beings out here. It's our first time on Earth. And we're all just trying to make it happen. Some of us have had hard lives. Some of us have had bad childhoods, whatever the case is. It doesn't really matter, but we can all unite. And once again, if you can relate to anything I'm talking about in my music, let's talk about it. Let's get to it. Like I'm all ears. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love that. And like it's so cool. And sometimes it only takes that person, maybe you listen to their music or you go see them live, like to be like, oh, okay. Like they get it. There's someone else out there. Maybe, I can go talk to them at a show or whatever, or just put the music on and not feel alone. So I think that's really cool. And like speaking of music, obviously in April, you dropped a song, Horror, and like that one is like it's so good. And even the music video too. It's just like everything about that. And you had said it's like one of your most personal songs to date. And you hear that. And again, like going back to like what we were talking about in the beginning, like the certain placements with certain things and just moments. I'm like, yeah, this is exactly to me, like if you were to show someone like Seaside Massacre, I'm like, this is here you go. For you, like what's been the response like and what does it feel like to have that out there?
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's really awesome for you to say. It's been great. We took a little bit of a risk with this one because we put a little bit more clean singing in it than we have before. It's not our heaviest track by any stretch. It's kind of, I guess, on the softer side. I mean, there's two breakdowns in it, but
Right.
the overall vibe is a little bit more somber, a little bit less chaotic than, say, First Blood, our single before that, or even the single that's coming up next month. But we took a little bit of a risk on that just to kind of show that we have versatility, and it's been really cool because a lot of people have been feeling it, and I know a lot of people have kind of been relating to the lyrics, and I think that's super cool. That's definitely the most personal I've ever gotten on the lyrics, I think, to date. You know, maybe bar a few songs that are coming out later this year, but yeah, it's been great though. A lot of people have really dug the vibe we've been going for, and that I'm so happy that that translated over. Me and Rex kind of went through the process of like, what do we want to visually represent the song? And we're just really trying to nail that kind of somber, kind of like found footagey, look to it. And I'm glad it translated.
Yeah, because like yeah, even like in the post, like the artwork for him, like this is just a piece like you can just tell like this was like on purpose the way this is and to go with that. And I'm that lyrics person. Like I know we live in a, streaming world where people are streaming, I still love the physical media and sitting there of always being that younger version of myself of laying on the floor, listening to the lyrics and like reading them and doing that. So for me, like that's what I did even when I was listening to it. I was like, let me pull up again. I pulled up like Apple Music. They give me the lyrics, and you can really feel those moments. So like I encourage anyone like whether it is your band they're going to go listen to or anyone like pull up those lyrics and have a moment like so you're not missing those little like just pieces of it. It was really like just an experience to do that way.
Absolutely. My favorite band right now is Boundaries, and
Hmm.
their lyrics, Matt's lyrics are insanely good. Like that man, if you just listen to the music and you're not thinking about the lyrics, it sounds like the most aggressive music you've ever heard in your life. But then when you pull up the lyrics and read them, you're like, oh, this guy's sad. Like this guy's gone through some shit. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's cool because it's the inverse. Like I can relate to what he's saying, and that's really cool. And I'll do the same thing you do, where like they drop a new song, I'm immediately pulling up those lyrics and reading every line, going along with it. And like, that's to me how you get the full experience of the song.
Yeah, and like you even just said too, like there's more songs on the way, which is really, really cool to hear and new music. For you, what is the most exciting part when you get to have you have this song out, but the other songs out are to come out? Like what is just the most special part of releasing music?
It's honestly just seeing the reaction, just seeing
Yeah.
what people resonate with. Because we have a project we're putting out. We're trickling out singles right now, and it's all very similar. It's all, you could tell it's all on the same album, but some of the songs are sonically a little bit different. Like there's one that's a little bit faster. The Horror's got kind of more of that somber vibe to it, and it's just cool seeing like the different people react to it in their own special ways. Like the next one is going to be really fast. It's got a huge breakdown in it, and we've been playing it live for over a year. And that one's always a fun one because after the show, people will be like, "Man, what was that song with that giant breakdown in the middle of
Yeah.
it?" I'm like, "Oh, that's decades. It's really sick." Like, it's just cool seeing like what people cling on to.
Oh, I bet like too like I would just think like the anticipation almost like
Yeah.
do you ever get like nervous like yeah you're excited to see like people's reaction but like prior to like maybe the night of a release do you ever get like a little anxious or a little nervous about the release?
Oh God, yes. It's like, what if this one flops? You know what I mean? There's always that little voice in the back of my head that like, oh, people aren't gonna like this, or maybe people are just not gonna pay attention to this, or what if you put all this work, all this time, money into this, and then people are like, nah, this ain't it, chief. Because you see that happening a lot. It happens to the biggest bands in the world. They'll put out an album and people are like, that sucked. I hate you guys now. And it's like, damn, you know what I mean? So it happens from the top of the ladder all the way to the bottom. And so there's always that tinge of nervousness, but I try to turn any kind of nervousness or anxiety I have into excitement, into like a positive energy. So when I start feeling those, I just kind of pour myself more into it. It's like, hey, yeah, maybe people won't like this, but we're gonna put it right in front of them, and we're gonna see if they really like it or not.
I can resonate. Like even me, like if I ever get on with someone and say it's like a guest, like one of those guests that I'm like, oh man, this would be my dream. Like when I sat down with like Anthony Green, I remember I was like, oh my God, like I had the anxiousness and nervousness, but I like you said, I turned it into an excitement of like, look what you get to do. You should be so excited right now. Like don't be nervous. Don't care like what anything happens, anything goes bad or wrong. Just turn fine. And that's again talking mental health. That's helped so much of turning into any kind of like just excitement. Is huge. So anyone listening or watching, like try that. I know it's not a cure all. It is not because I myself like mental illness, everything that box. I do not know all. I just have a podcast, but that has helped so much. I don't want anyone to like take that the wrong way where she's like, oh, like just be excited about it. No,
Yeah.
I
Have you
get
ever
it.
just tried not being depressed?
Oh
No,
my God. That's yeah,
that's the worst one.
1,000%. There's so many, yeah, like currently, like, it's like if there's anything going on, it's like that's the number one thing. Like, have you tried this? Have you tried going outside? Yes, I still go outside. And like, guess what? I'm still struggling. I'm still
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Sometimes it works. Sometimes touching grass is great. Sometimes it
Yeah,
doesn't. I don't know what to
exactly.
tell you.
Yeah, exactly. And like too, like obviously at the end of this month, you're gonna be going on tour, which is really,
Yeah.
really cool. For you, like what is that like? Like because touring is everyone I talk to says like it's can be the best thing because you get to get out there and get your music out there and maybe new places, but it's also really, really tough to tour.
Yeah.
So for you, like What do you love about touring?
Honestly, I've wanted to tour. I've wanted to be a touring musician since I was probably like 13 years old. I used to watch like all the old Metallica videos and stuff on my laptop and just be super stoked and see them going to different crazy places that I always wanted to explore and all of that. And so, I'm honestly one of those guys that's just happy to be here. But I think my favorite thing is getting to see parts of the country that I would never get to see otherwise for any other reason. And also just getting to connect with new people. Like,
Hmm.
obviously, this isn't a tour related thing, but getting to meet people like you or like, on the tours we've gone through in the past, I've met some of like my best friends. Like there's a band in Seattle called Ethereality, and I would have never really met them otherwise, but we played with them in Seattle in their hometown, and they're great people, amazing musicians, and like we like in Reno we played with Cyanate. I would have never met those guys in my life, but we were on tour, and I got to meet some people that I will probably know until the end of my time. So it's just getting to see the cultures, getting to see everybody's scenes, and it's just really cool. I love being on tour, but it is by far the most challenging thing to do as a musician. Like a lot of people have that stigma that it's like, oh, you're on vacation, you're just out here having fun, and it could not be any more opposite.
Hmm. That's what a lot
it's
of people say. They say all the time. They're like, it cannot is not what you think.
it's a lot of work. It's a lot of hurry up and wait. You're always rushing to get to the next stop. You get there and then you got to sit on your ass for 4 or 5, 6 hours, and then the band's playing, everything's sick, and you got to go drive through the night to the next state or wherever the hell you're going. And it's like, oh my god, but it's awesome. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm being a little negative about it, but I wouldn't
Yeah.
trade it for anything. Like, we've worked so hard to get to this point, and so very thankful that we're even able to do this in the first place. So it's definitely rewarding and definitely worth it.
And like, how do you almost maintain that, like, why you're doing it in the low moments, like maybe of touring, right? Because it is a positive thing. Like, you love what you're doing, but I think it's also like, okay to note, yeah, this is really great and you've worked so hard, but like, yeah, like there are parts that are really, really difficult and this is really hard and challenging. So, like, how have you maintained the, like, why you want to keep doing this during the challenges?
Yeah, like don't get me wrong, I can be the most negative human being in the room. So
Hmm.
I if I feel myself getting into that, I'll kind of like step away from everything, like maybe go outside the venue and just see who's walking around, whatever. I'll try to just kind of center myself. Be like, dude, you're in XYZ state. You're in, I don't know, Washington. Like, why else would you ever be here, dude? You're doing it for music. And you get to do something that, when I'm at my day job or when I'm here at home that I don't get to do. I get to go on a stage and be an entertainer, and a lot of people don't get that opportunity. So who am I to squander that? You know what I mean? I try to
Hmm.
just recenter myself and like really lock in, like, why am I here? Why am I doing this? Oh, that's right, I get to do something that I love more than almost anything in the world. Let's do it, let's kill it.
And like, what is there a bucket list place that you haven't been yet that you would like to go and bring the band?
Oh my God. Yeah. On tour, we're going to Louisiana, and I have always wanted to go to Louisiana. So we're playing Lafayette this year on tour, and I am so geeked on that. Further down the line, I would love to do the East Coast. I've been over there for work. So I've been all the way from Maine down to, the top of upstate New York. I haven't quite been down to, your area yet, but
Yeah.
I want to hit the whole East Coast. And then like the ultimate number one goal of all time is Japan. I want to bring Seaside Massacre to Japan so bad.
Oh, a lot of people talk about Japan. Like, I forget
hmm
which band it was, but they were saying like that is their number one goal is to get to Japan. And like, listen, like I see people go to it. I know friends that have been. So yeah, I can imagine playing that and also getting to experience it and also go to Japan. That would be
It
just incredible.
100%. The Japanese, and then you have to go down to Australia usually to make it all make sense. And I want to go to Australia hella bad too. So,
Hmm.
and just all of I'd be the happiest man on earth if we could make that happen someday.
Yeah, and like even talking about the East Coast, like I feel like Seaside Massacre like would fit, especially like with the bands, like just there's such an East Coast sound. Like I feel like everybody has like there's the West Coast, East Coast, Midwest, but there's just something about this East Coast and their ability to love like heavier music and
Yeah.
just you hear it like from like Boston and like down. And then the cool thing about the East Coast is if you are like say in Jersey where I am, like Philly is an hour and a half. Philly's a huge one. Everybody comes
Yeah.
to Philly. Um,
Yep.
I get it on the brunt where like people like skip New Jersey and they're like, oh, we're gonna go to Philly and New York City, and like that's great. That's like an hour and a half each way. And I get the routing, I understand it, but I'm like, man, you're skipping me
Hmm.
again. Like, man, this never happened in Chicago. What is going on? Like, I never was skipped.
Yeah, I understand you because Sacramento's the exact same way. I'm like, what do you mean you're going to go from Portland to LA? You literally have to go through Sacramento to get there. Like, there's no other way unless you're like, I don't know, going through Nevada, but that wouldn't make any sense. Like,
Yeah.
so I feel you on that one. It's like, come on, just make a stop. Come on, just one.
Right, right. Just like make a detour, just make it happen. For
Yeah.
sure. And like you said too, like there's this tour, there's new songs. Is there anything else you can talk about 2026 that we can expect?
Yeah. Like I said, we got the new songs where it's all building up to a EP, kind of a longer EP. It's on that weird little border where it's like not quite long enough to be an album, but it's almost too long to be an EP. So we're just calling it an EP, but it's a lot of songs.
Hmm.
We've been working really hard with Nick Miller in the studio over the last year to get those dialed in. So that's been great. And sorry, did I lose you there for a second?
No, no, I think we're good.
Okay, sorry, my phone's glitching out over here, but
You're good.
we were working really hard with Nick Miller in the studio to get those locked in, and I'm really excited for the world to hear those. Super stoked to be working with Overshadow.
Hmm.
Joe's been amazing with us so far, and he's got some really cool stuff lined up. And there are things that unfortunately I can't talk about because they're not 100% done deals yet. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of exciting stuff going on for Seaside Massacre.
Oh, it's exciting to see that because a minute, like I said, I was sent you and like hearing the music, I was just like, we need more of this right now. I know like a lot of times, like when I'm on TikTok, I'll find bands. I know people are gonna be like, it's the time, it's the time. Like when I want someone to come on, that's what I'm doing. I'm scrolling on like Instagram and finding, but I was like, we need this because sometimes when I'm scrolling, a lot of times it's like the pop punk and this and that. And I'm not against that. Like I love some of that,
Oh yeah,
but
oh
it's
yeah.
like, listen, like we need some of this too and this representation. So it's really, really cool. And this has been really cool to not only get to know you and get to know your band. And I just appreciate you taking time and coming on here.
Oh, absolutely. It's been a pleasure, Lisa. I really appreciate you having me on. I love your show. Genuinely a fan of it. Like we blasting all your episodes on the way to work. So you know what I
Oh,
mean? I definitely appreciate you taking the time to let me have the platform.
oh, absolutely. Oh, that's what it's all about. And like I appreciate that. Like anyone like it's always odd, like much like probably putting on music, like when you hear the people listen to it, I'm like, nobody listens to this. Even though I know I see that people do listen to it. But I'm like,
Yep.
all right, let me just put this out here into the universe. Let's do this. So I appreciate those kind words because it's like that's like for me the most important thing is like giving a platform to bands and specifically like I had a guest on the other day that he was like, "Oh, you had Ned Russin on from Title Fight, and you're talking to me with only this many followers."
Yeah.
I said, "Listen, it's not about that. Like, yes, those guests are amazing, but I'm like, I love the bands that I want and that should get that platform and that deserve like that they need those extra eyes on. Like that's where I thrive. And I'm like, that's what I'm thankful that this podcast has become that. Like those guests are awesome, but like people that I can just like, man, let's just help these bands get out there in any way. Like that's what's most important.
That is so valuable too. It's harder as a small band to get opportunities in a lot of places, and what you do for small bands is so valuable, and it's underappreciated. Honestly, it's such a great thing. It's the only way a band can grow is if we get more eyes on it, if we can relate to our people and reach people that we couldn't reach, in other mediums. So it's very valuable that you bring on smaller bands as well as the big bands. So it's very appreciated.